My horrible stepdaughter said that I'm not her real mom and to stay out of her life, so when I planned a family trip, I made sure she's not coming. Navigating family dynamics can be incredibly challenging, and I find myself at a crossroads right now. I'm hoping to share my story and maybe get some perspectives from others who might have been in a similar situation. I married my husband, Mark, a few years ago. He has a daughter, Emma, from a previous relationship. When we first got together, I was excited about the idea of being a stepmom, and I genuinely wanted to build a relationship with her. Initially, Emma was warm and welcoming, and we even bonded over shared interests like art and baking. However, as time went on, things took a turn for the worse. Emma, now 12, began to act out more frequently. At first, I attributed it to the normal challenges of growing up, but her comments began to sting. One day, out of the blue, she said, "You're not my real mom. Just stay out of my life." Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. I tried to stay calm and asked her why she felt that way, but she just rolled her eyes and walked away. After that incident, I felt a shift in our relationship. Every time I attempted to connect with her, she would push me away, making snarky comments about how I had no right to be involved in her life. It was heartbreaking, especially since I had always treated her as my own. I spent hours thinking about how I could reach out to her, how I could prove to her that I cared. But it seemed that no matter what I did, it was never enough. Fast forward a few months, Mark and I started planning a family trip to the beach. I was thrilled about the idea of creating special memories together. We envisioned a week filled with laughter, sunshine, and family bonding. However, given the recent tension with Emma, I was torn about whether to invite her. After discussing it with Mark, I explained how Emma's comments made me feel unwelcome in her life. I wanted to prioritize our relationship as a couple and avoid potential conflict during what was supposed to be a fun trip. I suggested that maybe it would be best for Emma to stay with her grandparents during our vacation. Mark hesitated, but ultimately agreed, thinking it might give Emma some space to cool off. When I sent Emma a message about the trip, I tried to be as gentle as possible. I wrote, "I want to let you know that Mark and I are planning a beach trip, and we thought it would be best for you to stay with Grandma and Grandpa this time. We hope you understand." I braced myself for her reaction, but nothing could have prepared me for what came next. Emma exploded. She replied with a barrage of texts filled with anger and hurt. She called me selfish and told me that I was the reason her dad was always unhappy. She insisted that I had no right to make decisions about her life. She even accused me of trying to erase her from the family. I was devastated. I never intended for her to feel excluded. I simply wanted to protect myself from her harsh words during a time meant for joy. I tried to reach out to Mark to discuss Emma's reaction, but he seemed caught in the middle. He wanted to defend me, but also wanted to support his daughter. I understood his position, but it felt incredibly isolating. After a long conversation, he suggested that I try to talk to Emma and see if we could work things out before the trip. Feeling vulnerable but determined, I decided to approach Emma directly. I asked her if we could talk, and she reluctantly agreed. I expressed my feelings about her words and how they affected me. I shared my intentions behind not inviting her, emphasizing that it wasn't about excluding her, but about trying to avoid conflict. Instead of opening up, she remained defensive and angry, repeating her earlier sentiments. I felt like I was hitting a brick wall, and it was clear that our communication was breaking down. I told her that I cared about her and wanted to be part of her life, but her rejection hurt deeply. In the end, we went on the trip without her. It was a strange mix of joy and sorrow. Mark and I had a great time, but I couldn't shake off the feeling of guilt. I constantly wondered if I had made the right decision. Did I give up too soon? Could I have approached the situation differently? Now, I'm back home, and Emma is still distant. I want to rebuild our relationship, but I'm unsure where to start. I hope that time will help heal the rift, but for now, I'm left with lingering questions and a heavy heart. If anyone has advice or has faced a similar situation, I would appreciate your insights.